Midshore Recyclers located in Hurlock, Maryland are buyers of all scrap metal, especially insulated copper. Due to the noise level of this machine, this will be a voiceover only video. And this video is our MG Recycling's Tritronic 837i shredder, conveyor belt, and then our compact 380 VZT Copper Wire Granulator. Purchased in 2012, this machine has been granulating copper here at Midshore Recyclers for 8 years. As I already mentioned, these are two totally separate pieces of equipment. Our Tritronic 837i pre-shredder and hopper sends the copper shreds up the conveyor belt to our compact 380 VZT wire granulator. This is the back of the shaker table, which has an air blower on the inside that you can adjust, which will separate the plastic insulation on the insulated copper wire. It will blow the bits of plastic out the back like it's doing right here. And the other part of the fluff will go over there in the sock house into those blue trash bags that we just saw. You'll get a much more detailed view of everything here in just a minute, but while you're waiting and going through the intro with us, you can hit that subscribe button and subscribe to our channel. With this machine, we're able to take insulated copper and turn it into the copper chops that you see here. These are number 2 copper chops, which will be sold for number 2 copper. Here you'll see the control panel, which is essential in maintaining and delivering the highest quality of product. Here you'll see our mini excavator, which is used to put the copper wire into the hopper of the pre-shredder. And here you will see our copper saws, which normally have a lot more in them, but after running 4 full work days, this is all that's left. Normally number 1 insulated would be separated from number 2 insulated in these stalls. However, we had such an abundance and employees spread thin, so we just piled it together and we're selling it for number 2 copper chops. Of course, the copper wire has to be cleaned before it can be run through the granulator. And I don't mean cleaned as in washed. I mean, we have somebody that cuts off the ends, as well as any big pieces of plastic, like on the ends of the harness wire. While this machine is pretty fancy and does a wonderful job and we're thankful to have it, it also has a hefty price tag of almost $500,000. Here's a few photos. I forgot to mention, this machine is labeled as the everlasting gobstopper machine. And this here is how we actually buy the copper wire from our customers. Here's our scales that we use to weigh the copper and all the other non-ferrous metals. And our computer, which we use Scrapdragon. There's one of my favorite customers, Mr. Barry Pinder. He's bringing in a little bit of copper wire for us. Look at him smiling. Julio's going to go ahead and weigh that up for him. And if you don't know, Julio is our scale operator at the back of the shop. And after Julio enters his weights into Scrapdragon, he'll put it in the bin. And when these bins get full, they'll be dumped up at the stalls to be processed. Once the copper wire is cleaned, it'll be thrown into the stalls, which is where the mini excavator will pick it up from, at which point it will be put into the hopper for the pre-shredder, as seen here. But you do have to be careful not to put too much copper wire in there at one time, which is why we have the mirror bulb on the ceiling that you see above the mini excavator bucket. And here you'll see the pre-shredder. This is inside of the pre-shredder. The insulated copper wire is shoved down into the blades of the pre-shredder, which, as you can see, is grinding it up. very few people have ever seen inside of the hopper for the pre-shredder, so you guys are pretty lucky. Underneath of the shredder, as seen here, this is where it comes out when it leaves the hopper. When it's being shredded, it gets shoved down through here, where it goes into another hopper that you'll see in just a moment. Depending on whether you're running number 1 or number 2 copper, depends on how fast the conveyor belt should go. As you can see, you have to feed the material through so that it doesn't get jammed up right here. And of course, I can't take a video without somebody messing with me. Aaron. As the second hopper gets full of pre-shredded copper, it will go up the conveyor belt as such. This is an important part of running this machine. You want this to stay in the green. You don't want it to get up into the red. It could mean a couple different things, but more than likely you put too much copper in the pre-shredder hopper, or maybe your belt's running too fast and it's dumping too much at one time. This is the back of the shaker table, which is where the plastic insulation gets dumped. You adjust the air from the control panel, which when you have the air set correctly, it will push the fluff to the back of the machine like it's doing right now, and then it will push the heavy copper to the front of the machine, which you'll see in just a minute. And this is just pretty much a close-up of the what we call fluff Like I said, it's the plastic insulation after it's separated from the copper inside the machine. And here is the front of the shaker table, which is where the copper is pushed out. Once again, I opened the door so you could get a better view. And the air settings are correct because the copper is coming out the front with no insulation, and the plastic is going out the back with very minimal copper. Granulated copper is basically a very coarse copper sand, is what it reminds me of. And when the copper comes out of the shaker table, it drops down into our Gaylord box, which is lined with a plastic liner to keep the copper chops from falling through the cracks in the box. Hopefully you guys learned something from this video. Both Midshore Recyclers and Midshore Solutions hope you enjoyed the video. We thank you for watching, and don't forget, hit the subscribe button. Thanks! Bye!